could be anything, this Joe Calzaghe. Calzaghe is the younger man by 6 years. Torres a bit of a veteran now. He's tall, Calzaghe, taller than the Brazilian. Weight, not much in it. Slight reach advantage for Calzaghe. Torres has had double plus the number of fights that Calzaghe has had. And look at the number of rounds, about 6 times as many. Knockout percentage 95% for Calzaghe. He's been blowing them all away.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this contest is promoted by Frank Warren for Sports Network Europe in association with Chris Sanagar, and is an international super middleweight contest over 10 3-minute rounds. Introducing in the red corner, wearing the red trunks with the white trim, coming from Recife in Brazil. He scaled 12 stone 1 pound, and as a professional has had 46 contests, 44 wins, 28 wins by way of KO with 2 losses. He's a former Brazilian, South American and WBF super middleweight champion. Would you please welcome to Bristol, Luciano Torres. And his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, coming from Newbridge in Gwent in South Wales. He weighed in at 12 stone, 1 3/4 pounds. One of Britain's most promising young boxers. He's undefeated in 21 contests, 20 wins coming by way of the big KO. And he's the former undefeated British super middleweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Joe Calzaghe. Presiding over this contest is Mr. Rodderman, and the referee from Bristol was Grant Wallace. Thank you.
Well, the referee is in fact Denzel Lewis for this one. Calzaghe has that kind of arrogant look on his face. He is extremely self-confident. And he's finished 6 of his last 7 fights, Calzaghe, inside 2 rounds. The young man from South Wales in the black trunks, the Brazilian in red, Luciano Torres, once ranked #1 by the WBA. That may tell you more about the WBA than it does about Luciano Torres. Huge swing from the Brazilian. Calzaghe, southpaw. Sometimes he looks a bit awkward and unconventional. Doesn't really take the eye, but suddenly he produces these big booming punches and it's all over. Looks a bit of a low blow, that left hand from Calzaghe. Can this Brazilian, I wonder, manage to put him under any kind of pressure?
Well, so far all he's really shown us is the right hand haymaker, really thrown in a big arch. Having no success with it, but he's lunging forward.
Both of them holding on and hitting. Clubbing left hand from Calzaghe, who's trained by his father Enzo, who used to go to the same school, incidentally, as Joe Bugden. Nice work from Calzaghe, really putting the cluster of punches together, mixing up to head and body. Torres looking in trouble there. He's hurt and open, and Calzaghe is not stopping the punching.
These are fast and accurate punches going in from Calzaghe.
That was an impressive burst, no matter what the quality of the opponent. Torres only just about got through that. Thought for a moment as if Calzaghe was on his way to yet another first-round victory. Torres waves him in.
Well, technically, he's not showing a great deal, Torres. Just this wild right hand, certainly not textbook stuff.
Well, it's Remains to be seen how much Torres fancies this, taking this fight a long way from home, and he suddenly realised he's in with a young gun who can hit. The way this is going, it might not last long. Calzaghe's raining punches in. There was a big left hand, and for about the 4th time in the round, Torres reeled back against the ropes, almost as if he was not in control of his legs. He looks fleshy as well, the Brazilian.
Yes, his balance is very bad. He's done no real offense. He's just throwing a wild right hand. There's nothing sharp coming back at Calzaghe.
It was all that Luciano Torres could do to get through round 1. Matter of fact, I didn't think he was going to for quite a lot of the time.
It didn't look like it. Calzaghe opened up with some good, fast combinations. He looked impressive when he did that, but there was very little comeback from the Brazilian. Torres just, his defense is weak. This is Calzaghe opening up, trying to get round the hands. He's a little unorthodox, well, a lot unorthodox, Torres, but Calzaghe having no problems at this point and landing with good, crisp, clean punches. And he couldn't throw anything back of any consequence, Torres. He was just reeling around on the ropes, trying the odd right hook, as we see there. A little bit of a haymaker, nothing really in. Heads down. But some nice quick punches from Calzaghe.
The boys upstairs were wondering whether this fellow might end up being a boxing equivalent of Roberto Carlos, the Brazilian footballer. Well, he isn't. 66% success for Calzaghe against less than 10% for Torres in the opening round. Here's round 2. Torres is in red. Calzaghe in the black trunks, absolutely dominating that first round. Of course, what we don't know about Calzaghe is how adaptable he is. What's he like under pressure? How does he cope with a hard fight? We may not get the answers to those questions here. Good right uppercut. It was a good countering right, mind you, from Torres.
Well, Torres is trying to hold his ground. He's trying to push Calzaghe back here. But he doesn't seem to have a great offensive weapons. He's just throwing that right hand. Very little coming with the left from Torres. Just that wild swing again.
Another left hand. Breathing heavily, the Brazilian. Looking for big, wild, lunging right hands. Calzaghe going in for a bit of showboating, little smile playing around his lips. He was caught by one big right, left himself open.
Yes, I think the smile was more a little bit of frustration and not being able to land cleanly on Torres. He's finding a little difficult. He's very unorthodox, Torres, and he's not landing with the clean, hard punches that he would like to, Calzaghe.
Gives ground, Torres again as he felt the weight of that punch. Denzel Lewis, the referee, looking on as Calzaghe looks to line up the next assault. We didn't want to knock Torres too much before the fight on his way into the ring, but I'll be honest with you, when we saw him in Milan that night, we couldn't believe that he was the WBA #1. He was an embarrassment, wasn't he?
Yes, he was very bad. It didn't look like the same guy that we'd read about. His record was so good, but since I think the thing to read into it is the only time he's come out of Brazil, he's been beaten. So you wonder about the fight as he's fighting in his homeland.
Calzaghe's left seemed to just buckle the knees of Torres, mixed in the right to the body as well. And again, the Brazilian totters back against the ropes, almost looking for support. You wonder how he stayed on his feet so far. He might not stay on his feet much longer. Referee Denzel Lewis is looking on here. There's nothing coming back. And Torres takes refuge from the canvas. It's horribly one-sided. He may not get up from this. He does. He got up with the count at 8, despite the timekeeper going on to 10, and gets through the round, and Calzaghe winked at him for good measure.
Yes, I think that's the last thing Torres wanted to say, that Calzaghe had the confidence just to wink at him, but it's very, very one-sided. Calzaghe hitting him with lots and lots of punches there. Good clean ones, you know, nice and crisp, but really Torres has got nothing to come back with. You know, it's so one-sided. His defense is poor there. He's just trying to cross-arm guard, but Calzaghe picking up a lot of arm punches going in there. Not really getting the power in them, but just nothing coming from Torres. Just sinked there to his knees.
He's very one-sided. I think the referee would have stopped the fight had Torres stayed on his feet for about another 5 seconds. He was about to jump in. I was looking at him. There he is on the right there. I think he was going to step in, and then Torres went down to give himself a break, and that's how he got through the round. Total fight punches landed 76 to 12 to Calzaghe.
Yes, and you struggle to have seen the 12.
Quite. Third round. This Luciano Torres, a Brazilian, is just not a patch, is he, on Maurício Amaral, who did so well against Chris Eubank and Frankie Lyles in world title fights, another Brazilian. It's merely a question, I think, now of how long Torres can last. There's a really troubled look on his face as well. He looks as if the last place he wants to be in the world tonight is Bristol.
That's right. He's just got nothing to trouble Calzaghe with. There's no jabs coming. He seems to have one punch in his arsenal, and that's a roundhouse right.
And unless Calzaghe gets too complacent and careless and just gets caught by a real sucker punch, you would think that he has no problems here. Now, I wonder if Denzel Lewis was... I think he's trying to stop the fight here. Strange moment to choose by the referee. He's saying he's not got his gloves up, and, well, the fight is stopped. Calzaghe's wondering what's going on. We're kind of wondering ourselves. He has stopped the fight. That was an odd moment at which to do it. That was quite mystifying. Now, Calzaghe has won. Well, there were many other moments that Denzel Lewis might have chosen, and now I feel sorry for Calzaghe about this, really, because he's been made to look like a kind of unsatisfactory, dubious decision, when in fact he was all over this Brazilian. It was only a matter of time anyway, so it's academic, but unfortunate timing, Glenn, to put it mildly.
Very, very unfortunate. Certainly, yeah, there was no, in that, you know, when they were throwing punches there was nothing to show that the Brazilian was hurt. He took harder punches. He'd been in more trouble, and you know, it was a very bad time to do that. He was holding his own at that particular point. He'd been hurt the round before, but certainly not at that point, and it was mystifying as to why they could possibly stop. We see it again in slow motion here. It was just a slow, easy thing, which Torres reacted angrily at. I think he was reacting because maybe Calzaghe's been a little bit cocky the way he picked him up with that long left hand. But I have no idea why he would possibly pick that time to stop the fight. And you can see Torres' reaction. Terrible.
Oh dear. And all of which reflects pretty badly on the referee, to be perfectly honest with you. Torres is absolutely mystified. We all were, really. He was under heavy pressure, but there was no time to stop the fight. That was the weirdest one I've seen in a long time, if not ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 52 seconds of round 3, the referee Denzel Lewis stops the contest with Luciano Torres in no position to continue. The winner, and still undefeated, Joe Calzaghe.
Well, we hate to be critical of referees, but you'd have to question those words, in no position to continue.
Well, I think we have to be critical of the referee there. It was a very bad decision. You know, right, Torres was not going to win. You know, he wasn't doing anything. I mean, you've got to look at him as an opponent. I mean, he was very, very poor. But the referee picked a terrible time to go in and stop the fight, and nobody could say why. And certainly the crowd reacted very badly. A very bad decision from the referee.
Well, here is Joe Calzaghe. Unsatisfactory end. I mean, what was your reaction to what went on in there? That was mysterious.
Well, he's taking a lot of punishment, but the outcome was going to be inevitable. I was going to knock him out in the third round. They said the third round. A bit spoiled for me a bit. I think he's just stopped a little bit premature. I mean, you know, a bit sheezed off that, you know, I didn't get the opportunity to knock him off in style, knock him out in style.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a question of the timing. I mean, it was obvious you were going to stop him sometime soon, but the timing was bizarre.
Yeah, I was disappointed. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I wanted to put a class performance in night, and until the end, I thought I was doing the class performance. I want to do a demolition job on him at the end of the third round. The referee stopped me from doing that.
Are you getting a bit fed up because they keep putting you in these high-profile fights, and then everybody moans about the quality of the opponents and said, oh, well, what's Joe Calzaghe proved now? I mean, what's your reaction to all that?
It's nothing to do with the class of the opponent. People are saying that, but people don't realise just how good I am. And until I'm fighting for a world title, then they're going to see what Joe Calzaghe is all about, because I'm going to destroy anybody who's going to get in the ring with me. I'm only on 70% so far. When I get that world title fight, that's different. You're going to see how.
Well, let's bring in Frank Warren here, who's saying off microphone there was nothing wrong with that opponent. Explain.
Exactly. He said about him in the first round. He called him a lot of shots and took the fight out of him straight away. Amaral has been a good fighter.
This is Torres, you mean?
Sorry, Torres has been a good fighter. 46 fights, lost 2. Was ranked #1 in the world, and he's ranked by every organisation.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been ranked #1 in the world. We saw him in Milan, Frank. He should not have been ranked #1 in the world by the WBA. You know that, and I know it.
Not by the WBO, it's by the WBA.
WBA.
And he's ranked by all the organisations in their top 20s or top 12s. Every organisation has him ranked.
Well, he didn't look as if he should have been, frankly.
Well, you're saying that Joe, the opponent that Joe had in front of him tonight was no good.
I don't think he was a particularly great fighter. I'm not criticising Joe's performance. He's done the job, but I don't think that Luciano Torres is going to enter any Hall of Fame.
I'm not saying he is, but Joe Calzaghe is the type of opponent he needed at the time, and he took the fight out in the first round. I think you're too critical, and I think that's a problem you got with him, Ian. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. It's saying with Nassim Hamid, all the doubters in the early days, and then he produced the goods at the end. And I think you're doing the same thing again. You are taking away what the boy did in the ring. He did all he could do, all that was asked him. Quality fight. It's a shame the referee stops it prematurely.
Frank, let's come in here. No criticism intended at all of Joe Calzaghe. He's done the job, and he would have stopped the guy probably in another round. I think there is a bit of a question mark about the opponent. Let's move on from that. When is Joe then going to have the big acid test, meaningful fight? I mean, you've been talking about him fighting Steve Collins. Is that going to happen this year?
That will happen this year, and there's not a question mark about the opponent. I don't agree with you. The opponent was ranked. He did what he had to do. You can't do no more than that. What do you want? I mean, what do you want to see? You want to see him have a 12-round war or something, and then you'll be satisfied? It won't happen because they can't take the power. They can't take the hand speed. He's done well at this level. He will be stepped up another level. He will fight for a world title. It will happen this year, and I don't agree with what you're saying here.
Okay, you and I are going to have to disagree about the quality of the opponent there. Let's bring in Joe again here. Joe, what happens when you fight Steve Collins?
Simple. I think I'm going to knock him out, and I'm genuinely honest to God, I'm going to knock him out without a doubt.
No one's ever done it yet. No one's ever stopped him.
I'm going to do it. I'm a different class. I told you I'm 70%. I'm 70% so far. When I fight the world title, they're going to see what Joe Calzaghe is all about. I'm faster, I punch harder, I'm younger, I'm fitter. There's no way you can beat me. No way. No way anybody's going to beat me.
Frank, you